Hello and welcome to Lorinalandia. Today, I would like to talk about the concept of reparenting yourself. The way that our parents treat us is the way that we treat ourselves. And sometimes, as people are imperfect, the way that we treat ourselves due to the way that we were treated might not be the healthiest for us. Not only are people imperfect, I think we all have a unique set of needs and we all have different types of needs that need to be catered to us. What we deem healthy for us might not be healthy for another person. What our needs are might not be the same needs as other people. So there is really here an importance to understand our needs and to understand how to cater to ourselves. And a lot of times, that way that we cater to ourselves, that way that we bring discipline to ourselves, the way that we conduct our behavior according to some sort of boundaries, is usually a reflection of how our parents cater to us and instilled in us a sense of discipline and boundaries. So, in a lot of times, the way that we treat ourselves, especially relating with concepts such as nurture, care, comfort, rest, productivity, as well as you interact with your sense of productivity and with your sense of work and self-worth and safety. This all encompasses the role of parents and the boundaries and that way that we were taught as a kid. We will continue to do the same to ourselves in adulthood, especially if we not have addressed those behaviors and shaped those behaviors into fitting our needs. So it's really important here as an adult to reshape our concept of parenthood. And when I say to reshape our concept of parenthood, I'm not talking about two parents outside of yourself. I'm talking about you being your inner parent, you setting yourself those boundaries, you creating that space of comfort and nurture. And a lot of times, this concept of parenthood is within us. It might not be the healthiest because, again, people are imperfect, and also we are all different and we have all different set of needs. All of us need different things, so this is really not a size fits all. This needs to be a discovery and an inner reflection for us to understand what works for us. How can you bring ourselves nurture? How can we bring ourselves care? What is the best work schedule for us? How do we deal with boundaries and with comfort and safety? So, first, to reparent ourselves, I like to do this as exercise that is when looking to our parents or when looking to this concept of parents, what will be the characteristics of a good mother? What will be the actions that we will consider as being a good mother? We can look into the mothers in our life, the actual physical mother outside of us that we had, and think, what were the things that I liked that she did? Or what were the things that I wished she did, and writing them down. And then thinking about the concept of father, thinking, what in my eyes is a good father? What will I want a father to do? And again, if we had fathers in our lives, looking to our father and not thinking, okay, what were the things that I liked my father, that my father did? And what were the things that I wished he did? And we write down these characteristics and these little actions. And the idea here is to do those actions for ourselves because this exercise of defining what a good father or a good mother is just for us to understand what are our needs, because it's hard the personal bias, to ask ourselves directly, hey, what are my needs? Sometimes we don't know. And I think a good exercise here is to ask ourselves, what are the actions of a good mother in my eyes? What are the actions of a good father in my eyes? I'm writing those actions down, and this is not to bring shame or judgment to any father or any mother, nothing of the sorts. This is only to define what are our needs. This is only to create the guidelines and the set of actions that we need to take for us to fulfill ourselves. This is not to bring shame to your parents. Again, no one is perfect. And also, if people try to be perfect, everyone is different. And my needs are not the same as yours. So, fulfilling our needs, nobody will ever be able to fulfill our needs if we don't fulfill us ourselves. Because again, for us to be able to fulfill our needs, we need to know ourselves. We need to know what we need, because this is not the standard. This is not one size fits all. We need to look into ourselves, reflect on ourselves, go into the self discovery of what are my needs? What do I need to feel a sense of comfort? What do I need to give myself energy? What do I need to pour into my cup, right? And if we don't know what we need, we cannot express to other people what we need, because people are going to give to us what they do for themselves, and a lot of times people are not even like fulfilling themselves, so they are giving us almost nothing, right? And but even if a person was healthy within themselves and pour into themselves, they are going to pour into you the same way that they pour into themselves. And usually that will not fulfill you, because we are all different people. We all need different things. And for you to be able to fulfill your own needs and want to create this synergetic relationship with someone where you both don't tire each other, but you both create this balance of giving and receiving energy. First, you need to look into your needs and how to fulfill them, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to express to the other person, hey, I need this in this dynamic. I need this for me to feel fulfilled. I need this for me to feel energized. And this is what I need. But for you to understand what you need to look into yourself and understand your own needs. And when we start this process of reparenting ourselves by looking to what we consider a good mother or a good father, again, this is not any sort of judgment or shame towards your parent. This is just for you to understand what are your needs, because it can be hard due to personal bias to directly ask yourself, what are my needs? Because a lot of times we don't know, right? So thinking outside of us, it kind of creates this it kind of takes out the personal bias, right? So that way we can look into what a good mother is for us or what a good father is for us as a guideline of our needs. Because again, the way that you perceive the world is the way that you perceive yourself. So the best way actually to perceive yourself is not to look directly into yourself, is to look to how you see the world, because that takes out the personal bias, and that's a way more clearer way to understand yourself is by looking to the outside world and see your judgments about it. Judgments, they don't need to be good and bad. Judgments are neutral. What I mean by judgment is description of the world, is definitions of the world. So when you look to the outside of you and you try to define it and characterize it, it has nothing to do with the outside world, and it has everything to do with yourself. So it's actually a very useful tool for you to get to know yourself and to see yourself clearly, to describe the outside world, because that is out of your personal bias, and you can see your belief systems throughout it and your also thought process through that exercise. So when you reflect, okay, what is a good mother to me? What will be a good mother to me? What will be a good father? And you write down that list of actions and behaviors that you'll consider a good mother, then slowly you start taking those actions towards yourself. For example, you think a good mother might be someone that will nurture you when you are down, that will be there to support you when you are feeling down. So, when you are feeling down, maybe when you feel sad or tired, you are going to give you the nurture that you wanted your mother to give to you. Or, for example, if we talk about a father, you wanted your father to keep you safe. So when you are going through life or when you feel in danger, you ask yourself, how did I want my father to make me feel safe right now? And you do that for yourself. So you slowly start to do these actions that you define for yourself. What is a good mother and what is a good father? And in this process, I think it's very important to let your emotions flow, to feel your emotions, because this can trigger a lot of wounds of what we wish we had and we didn't. And also, this can trigger a lot of wounds of harmful behavior that was done towards you. So it's really important here to grieve a little bit. For example, the parents that we wish we had, the childhood that we wish we had, to grieve the sort of behaviors that we wish we received, and to let ourselves feel those emotions, because this might be a triggering process, especially if you have been through a lot of neglect or harmful behavior done towards you. And it's really important to hold space here to feel your emotions, because it is very fair. For example, yes, you did have parents, but just because you had parents doesn't mean they were the parents that you envisioned. You might have had a father and mother that was there physically, but they might have lacked and were absent in a lot of ways of your life. So it's okay to grieve an expectation of parents. It's okay to grieve an expectation of childhood. It's okay to grieve an expectation of an idea or a concept or what you wish you had. So it's very important here to let yourself feel your emotions, because feeling your emotion is healing. And actually, the things that hurt the most are those are the very things that need the best parents in yourself. The things that hurt the most, the things that cause you pain, that is the greatest opportunity that you're gonna have to really reshape your idea and behaviors of parenthood, to really transform your sense of inner parent to someone that supports you, is healthy for you, that accepts you unconditionally, that loves you unconditionally. So the most triggering moments and the moments where you feel the most pain are the greatest opportunities for you to show yourself love, to be the best parent that you can for yourself. And the importance here of reparenting yourself is really like to treat yourself in a healthier manner, to treat yourself with more unconditional love and unconditional acceptance, because you deserve it, right? Doing this for yourself is more than enough of a reason to grow through this process. Learning how to be there for yourself, how to accept yourself, how to love yourself just for you is more than enough reason to go through this process. But also, the importance of reparenting yourself is not only, for example, if you do have a family, if you do have kids, the way that you're gonna parent your kids is the way that you're gonna parent yourself. Of course, it is important to them also that you are a better parent for yourself so you can show up as a better parent for them. This is the reason why a lot of times the generational trauma, this is also kind of how generational trauma works. You were parented one way and educated one way, and that's how you parent and educate your child, and that's how behaviors, thought processes. trauma passes down through generation. So when you are doing this for yourself, that again is more than enough reason. You don't need to have a family. You don't need to have any of that. You can start this for yourself because you deserve a version of yourself that is there for you, because you deserve a version of yourself that loves you and accepts you unconditionally. That is more than enough reason. You don't need to do this for others for it to be a good reason, right? But if you do indeed have a family, then you can show up for your child in a different manner. Then you can break generations of patterns, and you can show up for your child with more love and acceptance. Because again, loving others is never an effort that you do for the outside. Loving others is an effort that you do for yourself, and then you show up in the outside world as that. For you to show up in the outside world as a better, kinder, more compassionate person is not about you putting the effort to be that. It's about you putting the effort to be that for yourself. Because the way that people interact with the world, see the world, is a reflection of yourself. So, the most impactful and loving thing you can do for the world is to impact yourself, is to love yourself, is to accept yourself. Because the moment that you do that for yourself, you are doing that for everyone that encounters you. You are doing that for everyone that passes your life, because the way that you interact with others is the way that you interact with yourself. Not only reparenting yourself is important for yourself, first and foremost, for example, if you decide to have kids or family or whatever, but also it is important to every dynamic you're gonna have with every person that you encounter, especially if we're talking about an intimate relationship. And when I talk about intimate relationship, this can be romantic, but can also be close friends. So the way that you're going to reparent yourself is also the way that you're going to show up in this relationship, especially when times get hard, when, for example, your friends need some support, when your boyfriend or girlfriend or lover needs you to be there for them, right? The way that you're going to show up in those relationships is the way that you show up for yourself, not only in terms of giving, but also in receiving. Imagine that you have a wound around not being able to receive, and you go through life through this hyper independence. And I'm saying this because I do this, I'm faulty of this, and the way that I reparent myself is to learn how to receive, which is very hard for me. So I can relate to this. But even in that wound where you did not receive, so you closed off to receiving, right? Or when you receive, it came with a price. So you learn to distrust what you are receiving. Even in that wound, the way that you parent yourself is going to show up in your dynamic with people. So if you were parented to not receive or to distrust what you receive, because it came with a price, and if we don't reshape our concept of parenthood, we're going to move through the world without receiving, because that way that we interact with ourselves is the way that our parents interacted with us in many ways. There is also here another sphere of how parenting yourself and reparenting yourself affects, that is not only yourself first and foremost, your future kids if you have them, your dynamics with people, but also the dynamics with things or activities or hobbies that you love. If you love, for example, painting, if you love a specific sport, or even if you love your career, if you love your job, the way they interact with things that you love also stems from the way that you parent yourself, because it is that in of itself is a relationship, right? So this can be things like, for example, you love your career or you love your work, and you have this type of inner parent, especially inner father, that is super strict and super hardworking. So when you go to work, you give everything. You give everything until you reach a burnout, right? Because there is a lack of boundaries in a sense, because there is a lack of reparenting yourself. And this can really stem from, for example, a father that worked a lot, that was never in the house, right? Or when he was in the house, he was emotionally absent because he was so tired from working all day, right? And the way that we deal with our work is also a reflection of our parents deal with their work that was passed down to us. Even, for example, if it's like an activity that you love to do a certain type of a sport, and maybe you feel like you need to be the best at that sport. This can also be a reflection of how we were parented, where we could not fail, right? We cannot be flawed. We cannot have mistakes. Everything that we did needed to be perfect, and we needed to give our best, and we needed to give our all. When in reality, like, we can have activities in your life that is for just playing. This can be a lot of also not having a time to be a child, not having the time and space to be a kid, right? Because being a kid and catering to your inner child is having time and space to just play, to make mistakes, to not be perfect, to mess it up, to be disorganized, right? So this self parenting and this reparenting ourselves affects more of our lives than we realize. It literally affects the way that we interact with the world, because it affects the way that we interact with yourself, right? So, a way to heal this is that exercise that I talked about at the beginning of what is a good mother to me? What will be a good father to me? And writing those actions down, slowly taking those actions that you wrote down and slowly feeling your emotions, slowly parenting yourself in the way that you wish you were parented. And that's the effort is only to your inner world, because again, the way they interact with the outside world is the way they interact with your inner world. There is no energy that you need to put on the outside. You just need to put energy on the inside to be there for yourself as the mother that you always wanted. Be there for yourself as a father you always wanted. And that will show up as a reflection in the outside world. Let me know down in the comments if you resonate with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like this content, subscribe. Bye.